Welcome to episode 3 of my Mallorca training vlog. Well, time is starting to tick on, so I've got 32 weeks before I'm due to fly out to Mallorca, where I'll be spending a week of cycling, taking on some of the iconic climbs that the island has to offer, including the Puig Mayor and the legend that is Sacalobra. So today is Wednesday, and as you can see, I'm not at home. I'm actually in Nantwich in Cheshire, which is about a 4-hour drive away. Now, I'm here on business, so unfortunately I'm not really able to bring a bike with me. Basically, I just won't have enough time to go out and do a ride on the road. But hopefully, with any luck, I'll be home tomorrow early afternoon and I'll be able to get a ride in then. Fortunately, I did manage to get my 2 weekly spins in, so regular viewers will know that I do spinning on a Monday and a Tuesday evening. And the beauty of spinning is that it is quite short, so each session's only 40 minutes, but it is rather intense. So to give you some idea of how intense it is, a typical road ride for me would be an hour and a half, 2 hours, keeping my heart rate between 70 and 80% of my maximum. So I'm kind of within my aerobic zone. But by contrast, a typical spinning session, like I say, even though it's only 40 minutes, my heart rate will go between 80 and 90, sometimes even up to 95%. So it's quite an intense workout, and sometimes a shorter, harder, intense session can be almost as beneficial as a longer, easier one. Well, I did indeed manage to get home in good time yesterday, so after a 4-hour drive I got back, had a quick cup of tea, put my cycling kit on and then hit the road, despite it being very cold and very windy. At the moment here in the UK we're suffering from a severe kind of Arctic blast coming in from Siberia, so typical temperatures out there are something like -1 degree Celsius, so that's pretty cold for me. Up until very recently, most of the rides that I've been doing have been relatively short, so around 30 kilometres. Then a couple of weeks ago I went out and did my first group ride in about 6 months, and we did a 40 kilometre route. Now this was a little bit of an epiphany for me because it let me know that I was actually stronger than I first thought, and 40 kilometres was not going to kill me. I then went out and did a solo 40 kilometre ride on a route down to Hayling Island. This route wasn't particularly challenging. It was very nice. A lot of it was downhill from my house down to the island. Had a nice little ride along the seafront, and then back along the road that I sort of went in the island on, and then up one of the big hills here. But apart from that actual climb, the ride itself is relatively flat. So that got me thinking, I know what the rides are going to be like in Mallorca. They're not going to be flat, so I need to start doing some hills if I'm to stand any chance of being able to take on the climbs in Mallorca. So with this in mind, yesterday's ride had to be a little bit challenging for me, so I went out and did a 40 kilometre route on what I would call a fairly hilly ride. So there were 2 fairly biggish climbs on there. And when I got back I looked on Strava. Not that I needed Strava to tell me that I had done some climbing, but it does give me a way of kind of quantifying precisely how much climbing I'd done. And yesterday I did just over 500 metres of climbing. I also learnt a little bit about myself on yesterday's ride. Now the 40 kilometres didn't really pose too much of a challenge for me. In my cardiovascular system I felt pretty good. In fact, I rather surprised myself at how well I was able to breathe and my heart rate was fairly low, so that didn't tax my system a great deal, and I kind of put that down to all the hard spinning sessions that I've been doing over the past few months. But what I did notice was that I really felt it in my legs going up the climbs. I just didn't have the leg strength to push me up the hills. So that's something that I will need to focus on in the coming weeks. At this early stage of my training, I'm not trying to go out and do too much too soon. So a typical distance each week that I'd like to cover would be around 120 kilometres of cycling, and that does include 40 kilometres of spinning. So this week I've hit all my targets basically. I went out on Thursday and did a road ride of 40 kilometres. I went out again on Saturday and did 37 kilometres of cycling, and that was only short because I kind of misjudged the route. And then I was going to leave it at that for the week, but on Sunday my cycling chum Kev gave me a call and said would I like to go out with him for 40 kilometres. He's coming to Mallorca with me, so it would be a great opportunity for us to get a few miles in together. So off I went on Sunday and did 40 kilometres with Kev. Again, I chose a hilly route, so it was exactly the same route that I did on Thursday, only this time I had Kev for company. I rode it slightly quicker, only by about 5 minutes, but I don't know whether that was because I was riding with somebody else or whether I'd improved or what. So that was all fine and dandy. So all in all, it's been a great week of cycling. I did, when I totted all my kilometres up, it was about 160 kilometres, and that's probably the furthest I've cycled in 1 week for about a year. So if you're training for an event of your own, why not let me know which one by leaving a comment below. If you found this useful, please like and share, and if you want to get the most out of your cycling, please consider subscribing to my channel for my regular weekly uploads. You can do so by clicking on subscribe, and don't forget to also click the little bell icon so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.